Now let's cut to the chase now.
Meat to the sandwich.
We've got a pretty big guest this week. I dispatched you to go and talk to the star.
You let me near a star.
Let you near a star, even after the Kirsten Dunst incident, which we won't talk about now. Stephen Graham, star of This Is England. Tremendous actor.
Tremendous.
Amazing film. You got to talk to him.
I did.
Let's find out how you introduced him.
Welcome to a man who some people say is Liverpool's second favourite Stevie G. Certainly not in my book. It's Mr. Stephen Graham. Welcome to the Glory Box. How you doing?
I like that. That's really good. That I'm quite proud of that.
I worked quite hard on that.
That's good. That is good. That one.
We're here to talk This Is England. I'm going to dive straight in and ask you to give me a summary of your character Combo.
Combo is a product of Thatcher's Britain. Been in and out of Borstal and homes and foster care and stuff when he was a kid, and he's just one of them kind of disillusioned people. But then he goes, but he's not too bad. But then he goes into prison and he gets infiltrated by like the far right, and he reads like Mein Kampf, and all of a sudden he thinks he's got something to grab hold of because he's disillusioned with Britain at that moment, at that time. He's narrow-minded politically, but he just believes in what the NF were about back then, in them days, which was, can I say bollocks, which was basically a lot of bollocks, like, but he believes it, and that's what gets him through. That's what he drives to, and he aspires to be like.
Yes, up to the point in the film when Combo turns up, it's actually quite.
It's a lovely film. I really enjoyed it.
You get the 80s montage at the beginning.
Reminded me of being a kid. It was fantastic.
Yeah, everyone's getting on, and then all of a sudden, it sort of jackknifes into something far darker. Your performance is quite unbelievably menacing, to the point where I think it's because your aggression in the film is so passive most of the time. Was this something you kind of set out from day one to quite sort of control the aggression, and then until that last bit?
Yeah, good question actually. What me and Shane set out to do was try and make a kind of skinhead that you'd never really seen before. I mean, to emulate them kind of classic skinheads like Made in Britain by Tim Roth, which was a fantastic character, romper stomping and stuff like that.
Menacing.
Very, very menacing. Like, some actors can do menacing really well, like Tom Sizemore, I know.
Very menacing, not acting it.
Yeah, but that's not all the chat we had, Rick. There's
Hello, you wanted more, didn't you?
Oh, damn right I wanted more. I want to talk about Turgoose, his co-star.
Now, moving on to Thomas Turgoose, obviously you play Sean. Most kids, when they get into acting, they'll do their bit part in Casualty, bit of Biker Grove maybe. Turgoose, 13, turns up and he's just nailed it. How big a talent is Thomas?
Immense, really, and as long as it's nurtured and looked after, it will be immense forever. When I first met him, he was so full of energy, and it was that rawness and that energy. I mean, sometimes he was a little pain in the arse, don't get me wrong, and you'd have to put him in his place, and that first thing in the morning he'd be drinking Coke and eating bars of chocolate, and you'd be like, whoa, calm down.
Top and sugar.
Yeah, so we had what we had to do is give him a can of Coke round about 10 o'clock and then give him another one round about 4, just to boost him up a little bit. And he changed it, he completely changed his diet. Working with him, I've said this before, but it's, to me, all I can imagine is it's like working with De Niro, because you're constantly on your toes, you never know what's going to come next.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, you have to drive the scene in a way, you have to get that response or wait for that response and see what he's going to do. So you're never quite sure what he's going to do or where he's going to come from.
I'm hoping that's not the end of the Stephen Graham, Fred Scott chat, because if it is, it means you haven't mentioned those trousers he wears.
Yes, his big tie-dye pantaloons.
They were sweet.
Yeah.
Did you tag that on?
You bet I tagged that on.
Thank God.
Quite a short answer from him, but then it develops.
Okay, so look out for that, listeners. Short, but develops.
Just finally, before I go, in the film you are decked out in some fairly snazzy, I'd say, tie-dye stonewashed jeans. Just wondering, did you manage to get your hands on those bad boys at the end?
No.
Did you wear anything like that in the 80s?
I was a breakdancer, so I was all Adidas trackies and that, do you know what I mean? And velour and Lacoste and stuff like that. Yeah, so, no, I never wore them. Although, I do remember once, this girl who I was going with for a bit, she had these jeans, and I think she tied them in knots or tied stuff around them and put them in the bath with bleach.
There's your tie-dye.
Yeah, and then I thought they were nice and that, and I think I bought a pair of proper tight, drainy Wranglers or something. I went through them, and I put them on once and I never wore them again. Yeah. Teenage days. They were lovely days then.
Halcyon days. But Mr. Stephen Graham, thank you very much. And
Thanks
best of
so
luck with
much.
the film.
And there you have it. Stephen Graham of This Is England talking to Fred Scott of the Glory Box. Mm-hmm. That was an absolute triumph, mate.
Well,
I'm gonna let you do more of those.
Well, thank you very much. That's
You did well.
I think it was nice, and key for me was the fact that James King didn't get an interview with.
Don't like James King, do you?
I didn't. No, there's nothing. You know, there's no bad blood as such.
It's a little bit bad blood.
A little bit of bad blood, but he wasn't there, so
yes,
he didn't get the
in your
exclusive.
face, King.
Yeah,
your
egg
shark-eyed
all over it.
face.